Let's welcome the candidates.
Hey, can I call you Joe?
Of course.
Okay, because I practiced a couple zingers where I call you Jill.
Okay, great.
We would like to remind our audience that due to the historically low expectations for Governor Palin, were she simply to do an adequate job tonight and at no point cry, faint, run out of the building, or vomit, you should consider the debate a tie.
I liked being here tonight answering these tough questions without the filter of the mainstream gotcha media with their follow-up questions, fact-checking, or incessant need to figure out what your words mean and why you put them in that order.
Governor Palin, what is your position on health care regulation?
I'm going to ignore that question and instead talk about Israel. I love Israel so much. Bless its heart. There's a special place for Israel in heaven. And I know some people are going to say that I'm only saying that to pander to Florida voters, but from a very young age, my two greatest loves were always Jews and Cuban food.
I mean, let's be frank. John McCain, and again, this is a man I would take a bullet for, is bad at his job and mentally unstable. As my mother would say, God love him, but he's a raging maniac. And a dear, dear friend.
Would you like to respond to Senator Biden's comments about John McCain?
No, thank you, but I would like to talk about being an outsider. You see, while Senator Biden has been in Washington all these years, I've been with regular people, hockey moms and Joe Six-Packs, and I'd also like to give a shout-out to the third graders of Gladys Woods Elementary who were so helpful to me in my debate prep.
It was the Democrats who first sounded the alarm about the risky mortgage loans that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were encouraging, and that your party resisted all our efforts to rein them in.
Wait. Wasn't it my administration that warned about the problem 6 years ago? And it was the Democrats who refused to listen?
What? No, who told you that? That's crazy. It's completely the other way around.
Okay.
Well, actually, this time he's sort of right.
Oh, so much material. So let's be frank. John McCain, and again, this is a man I would take a bullet for, is bad at his job and mentally unstable. As my mother would say, God love him, but he's a raging maniac. And a dear, dear friend.
With Barack Obama, you're going to be paying higher taxes, but not with me and my fellow Maverick. We are not afraid to get mavericky in there and ruffle feathers and not got to allow that. And also to the great Ronald Reagan.
You've cited Alaska's proximity to Russia as part of your foreign policy experience. What did you mean by that?
That Alaska has a very narrow maritime border between a foreign country, Russia, and on our other side, the land boundary that we have with Canada.
I want to give you one more chance to explain your claim that you have foreign policy experience based on Alaska's proximity to Russia. What did you mean by that?
Well, Alaska and Russia are only separated by a narrow maritime border. You've got Alaska here, and this right here is water, and then that's up there's Russia. So we keep an eye on them.
Senator McCain shut down his campaign this week in order to deal with the economic crisis. What's your opinion of this potential $700 billion bailout?
Like every American I'm speaking with, we are ill about this. We're saying, hey, why bail out Fannie and Freddie and not me? But ultimately what the bailout does is help those that are concerned about the health care reform that is needed to help shore up our economy, to help it's got to be all about job creation, too. Also, to shoring up our economy and putting Fannie and Freddie back on the right track. And so health care reform and reducing taxes and reining in spending, because Barack Obama, we've got to accompany tax reduction and tax relief for Americans. Also, having a dollar value meal at restaurants, that's going to help. But 1 in 5 jobs being created today under the umbrella of job creation, that, also...
And women.
You've cited Alaska's proximity to Russia as part of your foreign policy experience. What did you mean by that?
That Alaska has a very narrow maritime border between a foreign country, Russia, and on our other side, the land boundary that we have with Canada.
Well, explain to me why that enhances your foreign policy credentials.
Well, it certainly does, because our next door neighbors are foreign countries. They're in the state that I am the executive of.
Judging from Saturday Night Live, the comedians have their doubts.
You went to the UN for the first time. How was that experience?
Oh, it was just amazing. So many interesting people. Though I have to say, I was disheartened by how many of them were foreigners.
Consider even national security issues with Russia as Putin rears his head and comes into the airspace of the United States of America. Where do they go? It's Alaska.
It became instant fodder for Saturday Night Live.
Forgive me, Mrs. Palin, but it seems to me that when cornered, you become increasingly adorable. Is that fair to say?
I don't know. Is it?
Take a look. Versus.
Ultimately, what the bailout does is help those who are concerned about the health care reform that is needed to help shore up our economy, it's got to be all about job creation, too.
Ultimately, what the bailout does is help those that are concerned about the health care reform that is needed to help shore up our economy, to help... it's got to be all about job creation, too.